Imagine waking up one morning and being told that the city where you were born isn't really yours. The school you attend isn't meant for you. The neighborhood you live in isn't where you belong. And the country you've called home your entire life suddenly decides that you are someone else's responsibility. Sounds impossible, yet for millions of Black South Africans, this was reality. As Trevor Noah begins Chapter 3, he shifts away from childhood stories and introduces us to the system that controlled every aspect of life around him: apartheid. To Trevor, apartheid wasn't just politics, it was the invisible force shaping his childhood long before he understood what politics even meant. Trevor explains that apartheid wasn't random hatred, it was a carefully engineered machine. Every citizen was classified according to race. Once the government placed you into a category, your future was largely decided for you. Where you lived, where you worked, where you went to school, even who you could love. Everything was connected to a racial label. The frightening part wasn't just the discrimination, irony was that Trevor himself didn't fit into any category. His mother was black, his father was white. Under apartheid law, children like Trevor weren't supposed to exist. His very presence exposed a flaw in the entire system. Whenever people looked at Trevor, they saw something the government couldn't explain: a child who existed between the lines, a child who refused to fit neatly into any box. Without trying, Trevor became evidence that human beings are more complicated than the labels society creates. Most people assume power comes from weapons, money, or laws. Trevor revealed something different. The government's greatest weapon was division. It separated Black South Africans into tribal groups and constantly emphasized their differences: Zulu, Xhosa, Tswana, Soto. Instead of encouraging unity, the system encouraged separation. The government understood a simple truth: people who stand together are dangerous. People who stand apart are easier to control. Trevor then introduces one of the strangest ideas of apartheid: the homelands. Millions of Black South Africans were assigned to specific territories based on tribal identity. The government claimed these territories were independent nations, but there was one problem: most people had never chosen to live there. Many had never even visited them. Imagine being told that your home is no longer your home. That was exactly what happened. The homelands looked like freedom on paper. In reality, they became another way to limit opportunity and remove rights. While governments were busy creating categories, Trevor's mother was busy ignoring them. Patricia Noah believed that justice mattered more than rules. The law said she shouldn't have had a child with a white man, yet Trevor existed. The law tried to define her future. She refused to accept it. What's remarkable is that Patricia's rebellion wasn't loud. She wasn't standing on stages or leading crowds. Her resistance happened through everyday choices. Every decision she made told Trevor the same thing: never allow someone else to decide your worth. One of Patricia's greatest gifts to Trevor was curiosity. She didn't want him to blindly obey authority. She wanted him to think, to question, to challenge. Whenever Trevor encountered unfairness, his mother encouraged him to ask why. Who created these rules? Who benefits from them? Who suffers because of them? Those questions planted the seeds of independent thinking. Years later, they would help Trevor see the world differently from those around him. As Trevor reflects on apartheid, he realizes something powerful. A government can control land. It can control laws. It can control opportunities, but controlling the human mind is much harder. Patricia understood this better than anyone. This is why she constantly exposed Trevor to new ideas, new experiences, and new ways of thinking. She knew that true freedom begins long before political freedom arrives. It begins inside a person's mind. At first glance, this chapter seems to be explaining South African history, but beneath the history lies something deeper. Trevor isn't only showing us how apartheid worked, he's showing us how systems of power work everywhere. They create labels, they encourage division, and they convince people to accept those labels as truth. By the end of the chapter, one message becomes clear:
Apartheid wanted people to believe they were defined by race, tribe, and category. Patricia Noah taught her son the opposite. You are more than the labels placed upon you. You are more than the system around you. And no matter how powerful an unjust system becomes, it can never completely control a person who chooses to think independently. That idea becomes one of the most important foundations of Trevor Noah's journey, and one of the most powerful themes in the entire memoir. Have you ever been judged by a label before people got to know the real you?